Yes, dear students of 10th standard. So nowadays we are discussing about periodic classification of elements, which is in your science book chemistry portion, unit 8. And already we have discussed about periodic classification in 9th standard also. Further, we are moving for higher order thinking to enhance our knowledge on the properties of elements. And before moving to the next topic, I would like to check your understanding level of this lesson, whatever you learned in the previous classes. So, I would like to ask some questions. So, you're ready to give answer, prepare your mind and recollect the answer from your mind and try to recite the answer. First question: how many elements are in the modern periodic table? How many elements are in the modern periodic table? Answer, I think there are 118 elements in the modern periodic table. The next simple question: who prepared the modern periodic table? Who prepared the modern periodic table? Henry Moseley. Henry Moseley prepared the modern periodic table. In 1912, a British scientist discovered a new property, and based on his new property, he devised the modern periodic table. Next question: which experiment helped the Moseley to devise the modern periodic table? Understand the question. Which experiment helped the Moseley to devise the modern periodic table? This you have already learned in 9th standard. That is X-ray diffraction experiment. X-ray diffraction experiment helped the Moseley to devise the modern periodic table. The next question: name the property discovered by Moseley through his X-ray diffraction experiment. Name the property discovered by Moseley through his X-ray diffraction experiment. So Moseley discovered a new property, and based on the new property only he devised the modern periodic table. The property is nothing but atomic number. So through his X-ray diffraction experiment, Moseley found that atomic number is the basic one for the classification of element, not the atomic mass. Then next question: what is called atomic number? What is atomic number? These are all only simple questions, and already we have discussed in the previous session, also in 9th standard. Atomic number is nothing but the total number of protons present in the neutral atom of an element. The total number of protons present in the neutral atom of an element. And also we can write the definition in yet another form. The total number of electrons revolve around the nucleus of an atom, which is also called as atomic number. Then next simple question: what is modern periodic law? The modern periodic law stated by Moseley, a British scientist, based on the new property, that is atomic number. So what is modern periodic law? The physical and chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. The physical and chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic number. The next question: what is modern periodic table? What is modern periodic table? The modern periodic table is devised by Moseley based on the increasing order of atomic number. And this modern periodic table, a definition for modern periodic table is: the modern periodic table is a tabular arrangement of elements in rows and columns, highlighting the regular repetition of properties of the elements. The modern periodic table is a tabular arrangement of elements in rows and columns, highlighting the regular repetition of properties of the elements. The next question, simple questions only, you try to give answer. And what are periods? What are periods? So the horizontal rows in the modern periodic table are called periods, the horizontal rows. So how many periods are there in the modern periodic table? There are 7 periods in the modern periodic table. And which is called the shortest period in the modern periodic table? That is first period, because it contains only 2 elements, hydrogen and helium. Then what are the short periods? Second and third periods are called short periods. Each contains 8 elements. Then what are the long period in the modern periodic table? Fourth period and fifth periods are called as long periods, because these periods contains each 18 elements. Then which is the longest period? The sixth period is called longest period. Also the seventh period also called the longest period. Sixth period consists 32 elements. Seventh period also sometimes called as incomplete period, because the new elements which are going to be discovered are going to be included in the seventh period. Then next, what are groups? What are groups? Groups are nothing but the vertical columns in the periodic table starting from top to bottom are called groups. How many groups in the modern periodic table? There are 18 groups, and these groups are classified based on various families. That is, group 1 is alkali metal, group 2 alkaline earth metal, and 3 to 12 transition metal. 13th group is boron family, 14th group carbon family, 15th group nitrogen family, 16th group chalcogen family, 17th group halogen family, 18th group noble gases. Then what are inner transition elements? So the lanthanides and actinides form a part of group 3, which are called the inner transition elements. Then the zero group elements are possessed in the 18th group, which are also called inert gases and rare gases. And next, see the periodic trends and properties. What is called a periodic? Periodic means nothing, anything which repeats itself after a regular interval of time. Anything which repeats itself after a regular interval is called periodic. This property is called a periodicity. And what are the main significance of the modern periodic table? The modern periodic table gives a clear understanding of the general properties and trends within a group or a period to predict with a considerable accuracy. Next one, what is called the atomic radius? Atomic radius is nothing but the distance between the center of its nucleus and the outermost shell containing the valence electron. And there are two types of atomic radius: covalent radius and metallic radius. So metallic radius mainly in the atoms of the metal, it is nothing but half the distance between the nuclei of adjacent metal atom. Then what is called covalent radius? The covalent radius is half the distance between the nuclei of two covalently bonded atoms of the same element in a molecule. So this covalent radius is mainly in the non-metallic elements. Example, formation of hydrogen molecule. And next see, along the period from left to right, atomic radius decreases. Along the period when we go from left to right, atomic radius decreases. At the same time, when we go along the group, that is down a group, due to the increase in the valence shell, what happens? See that atomic radius increases. Atomic radius increases. Next, see, ionic radii. What is the definition for ionic radii? It is defined as the distance from the center of the nucleus of the ion up to a point where it exerts its influence on the electron cloud of the ion. And there are two types of ion, already you learn, cation and anion. Cations are positively charged ion, anions are negatively charged ion. Cations are formed by losing one or more electron from its neutral atom. Similarly, anions are formed by gaining one or more electron by the neutral atom. Then anion is larger than the neutral atom. At the same time, cation is smaller than the neutral atom. And next topic what we are going to discuss now is ionization energy. Ionization energy. So what is called ionization energy? So ionization energy is nothing but the minimum energy required to remove an electron from a gaseous atom in its ground state to form cation. So the minimum energy required by an electron in a gaseous atom to form a cation, positively charged ion. So that is called ionization energy. This is also otherwise called ionization enthalpy, and the unit is kilojoule per mole. Kilojoule per mole. So ionization energy is higher means it is very difficult to remove the electron. So more ionization energy, more difficult to remove the electron. So less ionization energy, it is easy to remove the electron. Then as the atomic size decreases from left to right, when we go from left to right in the modern periodic table, atomic size decreases. So because of this, more energy is required to remove the electron. So ionization energy increase along the period. When we go from left to right along the period, ionization energy increases. But at the same time, down the group, along the group, atomic size increases and the electrons are loosely bound, so it requires only very less energy for the removal. So ionization energy decreases along the group. So 2 points you have to keep in your mind. Ionization energy increases along the period and ionization energy decreases down the group. Then there is a note given, as the positive charge increases, the size of the cation decreases. Size of the cation means the positively charged ion decreases, and because of this what happens, see, ionization energy increases, electron affinity increases, also electronegativity increases. At the same time, the second point, as the negative charge increases, the size of the anion, the negatively charged ion increases, but ionization energy decreases, electron affinity decreases, electron negativity also decreases. So next simple topic, electron affinity. Electron affinity. Electron affinity is nothing but that is the power or the force to gain electron. So it is the amount of energy released when a gaseous atom gains an electron to form an ion. So both the cases we are considering gaseous atom. In the first one, ionization energy, that energy required to remove the electron. Here, energy released to gain the electron to form anion here, and ionization energy to form cation. And the unit is same, kilojoule per mole, and a simple representation is given. A plus electron gives anion. That is a symbolic representation. When we take for example chlorine which is a gaseous element, when an electron is gained, it turns to be neutral atom to negatively charged anion, and sort of energy is released. So like ionization energy, electron affinity also increases from left to right in a period and decreases along the group. And more to know, it is given, noble gases have no tendency to accept or also lose electron, because their shells, valence shells, are completely filled. They are having completely filled shells, so no more electron is going to be added. So their electron affinity is 0. The next one, electronegativity. What is called electronegativity? Electronegativity of an element is the measure of the tendency of its atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself in a covalent bond. So I repeat, electronegativity of an element is the measure of the tendency of its atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself in a covalent bond. So simply you can understand, electronegativity is nothing but that is the tendency of attracting electron. Simply you have to keep in your mind, electronegativity means it is a tendency of atom attracting electron. At the same time, electropositivity also there. It is called electropositivity. This is completely opposite to the electronegativity. Electronegativity is tendency of attracting electron. Electropositivity is tendency of losing electron. So here we are going to take one example. Consider HCl, hydrogen chloride molecule. See, in the HCl, two elements are there, hydrogen and chlorine. So during the formation of HCl, how molecules are formed, already learned in 9th standard. See, hydrogen donate one electron, chlorine also donate one electron. So they both the atom share one pair of electron to form a HCl molecule. That is, one single covalent bond is existing between hydrogen and chlorine atom to form hydrogen chloride molecule. One single covalent bond. What is the meaning of single covalent bond? Single covalent bond meaning one pair of electron is shared between the combining atom. So between hydrogen and chlorine, one pair of electron. That means one electron is donated by hydrogen, one electron is donated by chlorine. These two electrons are equally shared to form a covalent bond and to give HCl molecule. And you are seeing chlorine atom has higher electronegativity. That means what? Chlorine has high force to attract electron compared to hydrogen. So what happens? See, the chlorine pulls the shared pair of electron towards itself. So chlorine pulls the electron strongly from the hydrogen. So because of this, what happens? See, the bond break, the covalent bond break, the bonding electrons are going to be left along with the chlorine atom. So the electron move to chlorine atom. So because one electron is more to chlorine atom becomes a negatively charged anion, Cl minus, and hydrogen lose the electron Because of the loss of electron, what happens? See, the hydrogen is going to be positively charged cation. So it is represented here, see, through this simple diagrammatic representation. So hydrogen have only weak pull and chlorine have strong pull. That means strong attraction, strongly attracting the electron. So that electron is moved towards chlorine. So chlorine is going to be negatively charged anion. So the electronegativity of chlorine is more than the hydrogen. So electronegativity is based on various experimental data such as bond energy, ionization potential, electron affinity. So these are the factors which are going to decide the negativity, electronegativity of the atom. So there is a scale which is going to measure, determine the electronegativity, Pauling scale. Nowadays we are using Pauling scale. Based on the Pauling scale only we are measuring the that electronegativity. So Pauling scale is based on the bond dissociation energy. It is based on the bond dissociation energy. So using this scale only we are going to decide whether the bond nature is ionic or covalent bond. Ionic bond is there in the molecule or covalent bond is there. Then some electronegativity of the elements are given here. For example, fluorine 4. Fluorine is highly electronegative element. Chlorine 3, bromine 2.8, iodine 2.5, hydrogen 2.1, sodium 1. Also see some other elements also there. For example, boron 2, carbon 2.5, nitrogen 3, oxygen 3.5, silicon 1.8, phosphorus 2.1, sulfur 2.5. So these are the some of the electronegativity of the elements. And see, if the difference in electronegativity between two elements is 1.7, the bond has 50% ionic character and 50% covalent character. So electronegativity between the two element is 1.7 is that molecule going to possess 50% ionic character, 50% covalent character. Suppose the electronegativity is less than 1.7, the bond is considered as covalent. The electronegativity is greater than 1.7, so the molecule is going to be formed because of the ionic bond. And along the period from left to right in the periodic table, electronegativity increases. So when you go from left to right in a particular row, that is particular period, electronegativity of the elements are increases because of the increase in the nuclear charge. So nuclear charge, that means the positive charge of the atoms along the period increases. So because of the more positive charge, it impels more force on electron, attract the electron towards itself. So which turns attract the electrons more strongly. So when we go from left to right along the periodic table, electronegativity increases. At the same time, when we go down along the group, the electronegativity of the elements decreases because of the increase of number of energy level. When more energy level is there, the electrons are moving away from the nuclear charge. So this is not having more electronegative character. Then the simple tabular column is given here, which is going to illustrate the property of the atomic radius, ionic radius, ionization energy, electron affinity, electronegativity. All these are simplified here. What under all we learned: atomic radius, ionic radius, ionization energy, electron affinity, electronegativity. All these 5 topics are simplified in this tabular column. That is, atomic radius along the period decreases, but along the group increases. Similarly, ionic radius along the period decreases, down the group increases. Then ionization energy along the period increases, down the group decreases. Electron affinity along the period from left to right increases, but top to bottom decreases. Electron negativity, the horizontal row from left to right increases along the period, but top to bottom along the group decreases. Then the simple test is given to check whether you have understand the uh, how to predict the nature of bond in the following molecule. See, sodium chloride. See, first one is a sodium chloride, NaCl. Na means sodium, Cl means chlorine. And using the previous page, the Pauling scale data, we have to find out the difference uh, between uh, the electronegativity of these elements. So we have to find out the difference in the electronegativity. See, sodium electronegativity is 1, but chlorine 3. Chlorine 3. So what is the difference? 1, 3, difference is 2. So this is more than 1.7. This is more than 1.7. So sodium chloride is ionic bond. Next we take sodium bromide. Sodium, the value, electronegative value according to Pauling scale is 1, and bromine 2.8. What is the difference between 2.8 and 1? 1.8. The 1.8 is greater than 1.7. If the value is greater than 1.7, then it is called ionic bond. So sodium bromide, ionic bond. Then take third one, sodium iodide, NaI. Sodium NaI means iodine, sodium iodide. Sodium value 1 and iodine 2.5. So what is the difference between 2.5 and 1? 1.5. So this 1.5 is less than 1.7. So it is going to be a covalent bond. The bond between sodium and iodine is covalent bond. Then fourth one, sodium fluoride. Sodium fluoride. Sodium 1. Fluorine is highly electronegative element. 4. Fluorine electronegative value 4. So the difference between 4 and 1 is 3. 3. So this is greater than 1.7. So it is going to be a ionic bond. The bond between sodium and fluoride is a ionic bond. Then sodium hydride, NaH, sodium hydrogen hydride. Sodium hydride. Sodium, the value according to Pauling scale is 1, and hydrogen 2.1. When you are going to find out the difference between 2.1 and 1, 1.1 will come. This is less than 1.7. This is less than 1.7. So the bond between sodium and hydrogen is covalent bond. So when the value is greater than, that is greater than 1.7, the difference is greater than 1.7, the bond is considered ionic. If the difference is less than 1.7, the bond is considered to be covalent. So my dear students, you have to revise what under all we learned now. That is simple topics we covered. That is ionization energy. That is ionization energy is nothing but the minimum, the small amount of energy required to remove the electron from gaseous atom to form cation, also called ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy. And electro affinity, that is opposite to the previous one. This is the energy released by the gaseous atom to form anion. Here it is kilojoule per mole. Then next, electronegativity. This is nothing but this is a tendency of atom attracting shared pair of electron. tendency of an atom attracting shared pair of electron. Then example HCl is given and the electronegativity of the sum of the elements are given, and if the electronegativity, the difference is greater than 1.7 means ionic, less than 1.7 means covalent, then all these atomic radius, ionic radius, ionization energy, electron affinity, electronegativity, all these topics are simplified in this tabular column and you can go through. Now next topic, metallurgy. The next topic we will do in the next class, and metallurgy, that is metallurgy, and there are definitions are there, what is called mining, gang, flux, ore, and next we are going to discuss about the separation and concentration of the ore. This we will do the next class. So students, how many of you understood the lesson and how many of you revised the lesson sincerely, I don't know, but you try to acquire the knowledge of the topics whatever we are revising, and I ask you to increase your listening ability, and because there is no real classroom situation is nowadays, and when you are at home, you sit right at your place, observe the lesson shown on the screen, and if you have textbook, keep the book open, underline the definitions and important terms. So sincerely take part in the learning process and exercise yourself, revise the topics continuously, and you have enough time at home because you are free. There is no fixed timetable is there, so you are free at any time. You can wake up and you can revise the portion. So revision is very very important. Write and practice. Be thorough about the lesson topics finished so far, and don't be lazy and lethargic, and wish you all the best. Thank you. God bless you. We will see in the next session.